Alright then, back at the Wizard's table yet again, for the bazillionth time it seems. Yeah, I think I'll just keep throwing these things up on the new Practice Makes Profit channel to kind of just hammer home to my audience of 2 or 3 the fact that pattern betting is the key. It's the key to everything. And I think the important thing about patterns, of course, is that they exist throughout the shoe, but will sort of like change briefly sometimes. Most of the time, you'll see a couple of losses, a couple of wins, 1 loss, 2 wins, 3 losses, 2 wins, and so on. And you have to keep up your momentum. You have to have enough money behind you to be able to ensure that you make as many turnaround bets as you possibly can, knowing that individually they're no more likely to win than any other bet. I mean, the cards don't care how much money you've got out, and the cards don't care or know, I mean, how could they, whether or not it's a turnaround bet. But what you're trying to do all the time is to turn around more quickly in fewer bets than the number of bets that it took you to get into trouble. So that's really what it's about. It's an end of story, really. And I keep saying the same things over and over again, and what can I do? I mean, oh, look at that. Almost beat me. Well, actually, not really. +1 for the win. That was another almost, wasn't it? +1 for the win. Ah, you got me that time, didn't you? Alright, so we'll repeat that. And so that's 2-3, third. Oh dear. I do dislike 12 against 3. I think most people do. And I always used to hit it, but then I used to play a lot with a guy who I learned on the internet the other month. Died about 5 years ago. Lovely guy. But he had a weird thing where he would not hit 16 if he had more than 2 cards, and I would hit 12 against a 3, and we did a little deal where I would stop hitting 12 against a 3 if he would hit a 3 card or 4 card or whatever 16. Regardless, because obviously you have to hit 16 against a 7 or higher. It's just common sense. But anyway, in Gary's memory, I'm going to stand on this. Oh dear, but the Queen would have bust me anyway. So what was that? It was 2-3. So now it's 5-3. So oops, 5-3 drop. Okay, so 5-3, money on the table. Bugger. 8-6. I think I'm allowed to say bugger in polite society. 14-15. Already? Bugger. I said it again. Oops. It's 14-15, so it's a turnaround, so we don't do anything with the tie. Push! Sorry, push! That might work. Should I stand on that? I think so. Alright, so we just, because of a big bet, we had a $1,500 bet out there, so that was 3,000, and we got back 1,000, so, that was a good return, wasn't it? Back to the minimum. Double for the loss. That was a cheeky one, but it didn't do us any good. Double for the push. 1-2 second. 3-4 third. What a bugger that is, isn't it? 3-4 third. Of course, these things happen all the time. I mean, I complain a lot, just as everybody does when they're playing this game. But there's nothing unusual about what happens here in this sim. It's very, very good. It's very accurate, very fair, and a very, very, very accurate representation of what you're going to meet out there in the, you know, was that 3-4? I think so. Don't think that's enough, is it? Or maybe we won 100 there. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, so I'll take that. Back to the men. Double for the loss. Oh! Dealer's catch. Repeat. Alright, back to the minimum. Double that. Oh dear. 51 second. Okie dokie. 52 second. That worked out. Back to the minimum. Very, very, very important. Double for the loss. One, two, third. 3-2, drop. So that's 1-2. What I do is that if the drop is 100, if the drop bet is 100, then I don't count it against the down when it wins. If it's more than that, like a double down or whatever, then I take it off. That's your choice. You can do what you want. You know, but anyway, 1-2 is where I'm at right now. That could work, and it did work. Okay, back to the minimum. There's a split. That's a mess, isn't it? Dear oh dear. 51 second. Repeat it. Okay, back to the min. +1 for the win. +1. Repeat that one. That's a good one. Back to the minimum. Alright, Gary. See, I'm going to regret playing it your way. Maybe not, though. I mean, I'd have got, what, 12, 14, 19. The next card will tell us. Yeah, I think you'd have beaten me. I think we're now on 1-2, third, 3-2, drop, oh, 4-2, 4-2 it is. That was a cheeky one, didn't do me any good, did it? 4-2 it is. I think we're going to call it 4-5 now, second. Just because I can. 9-10, third. That'll teach me. Alright, we got that. So we cracked 2,000 at 9 minutes. That's really pretty poor, but it is 2,000, so let's not be ungrateful. +1 for the win. +1 for the win. Split them. Rubbish. Double down. Oops. So that's 2. So that's 3-4 second. Don't like that much. Oh boy. I like it even less now. So that's got to be 11 12 third. Well, how about that? Okay, so back to the min. But the thing with all of these demos, of course, is that people who want to actually learn the strategy, which is about as simple as it gets, need to convince themselves that it works. So that basically means watch the demos, and you can see the power of the patterns. But of course, the patterns alone don't have power. They have strength, they have reliability, but the power, of course, is in the bets. And what you're doing is you're trying to keep a sensible relationship between your down, which is the amount that you're in the hole, and your out, which is the value of your next bet. And of course, I love the juxtaposition of down and out, because so many people who gamble lose so much money that they end up down and out. So, you know, there's a little joke in there somewhere. And I'm big on puns. I used to write headlines for newspapers for years, and puns were always our thing, still are. I mean, I get the daily paper, I get the Times every day here in England, and a lot of their headlines do make me smile. Some of them make me cringe, but whatever. Anyway, what was that all about? So that's double for the loss. No good, I don't think. Oh, all right. So we repeat that. And we're back to the minimum again. God, I'm 11 minutes into this and I haven't even ended the first shoe. Double for the loss. Is that a repeat? I think it is, yeah. Just made that one. Back to the minimum. Very, very important, back to the minimum. +1 for the win. Alexa,
this is a reminder.
Stop. +1 for the 51 second. That was a surprise. Repeat it. Oh, 51, so that's 2-3. And remember, we don't care about shuffles and stuff like that. We're not interested. 2-3 is the next bet, which is the third. Aha! Alright, so we got that one. So we hit the 3 grand at 12 minutes. We're getting a little bit better. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just an observational thing. It's just a tick, if you like. I like to see where I stand. It's really nice if you could make 1,000 every 3 minutes, because then you end up with about 7 grand at the end of 2 shoes, which is kind of nice, you know. Double for the loss. Repeat. 51 second. Cheeky. Repeat. 1, 2 second. Good. Minimum. The whole idea is that you just kind of like creep ahead little by little, you know. That was another cheeky one, wasn't it? Dealer's catch, as they say. +1 for the win. I'm sort of tempted. I like the idea of doubling against a 4, but it just doesn't feel quite right. Oh dear. Who should have doubled against the 4? I mean, really. What a wally. That would be a repeat. Oh, another dealer's catch. Alright, so we go back to the min now, because we got our loss back. +1 for the win. Double down. Boy, I'm catching them right now, aren't I? +1 for the win. Alright, we'll repeat that one. So that's 2-3 third. 1, 2, 3. Bugger. 2-3 third, 5-3 drop. 6-3. 6-3 it is. 3-4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look at that. Nice one. Back to the men. And please don't give me any guff about how this is a rigged sim and I'm manipulating it or whatever. That's an insult to the Wizard of Odds, Mr. Shackelford, who I think he's a shill, but he's a clever shill, and I think he's an honest shill, if there is such a thing. He would not put up a game that could be manipulated, and he would not put up a game that was not accurate, because that would be bad for his reputation. So you can rest on that, I think. Definitely not a double down. And that was a big bet. That's a repeat. That's a double. Oh dear. So that's 1, 2 second. That would have been too much to hope for. 3, 4 third. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7, 4 drop. 9, 4. 11, 4. Oh dear. 13, 4. 13, 11, 4. Because we just won 2, didn't we? Yeah. 11, 4. Double down. That worked. So it's 3, 4, isn't it? Uh-oh. Okay, so that got us out of trouble. Ta-doom, double down. Like to see the dealer bust. It's just good manners after all. Just plus one-ing right now. And that ended that, so we'll just do that and a double down. So that's 3, 4 second. I like that. Another dealer's catch. +1 for the win. Uh, 51 second. That's a double down. Shouldn't have been. 51. So that's 3, 4 third. That's a double. And that worked. Back to the men. Very, very important. I'm sure I've mentioned that. Double for the loss. 1, 2 third. 3, 2 drop. 3, 2 it is. Double down. That was nice. So that we're out of it there. I'm on exactly 5,000 in 19 minutes or 19 minutes 20. Back to, you got it. Bugger you, you extra 2, you. Double for the loss. Oh, nice ace got in the way up there. Repeat that one. Okay, back to the min. $51 second. Two, three, third. 5-3 drop. Hate this. 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3, and I lost 2 there, didn't I? So that's 7-3, 8-3, 9-3. So 9-3. So we're still at 9-3. We don't care about the shuffle. The bet is 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 6. Better make it 6-7, I think. All right. I'll come out now. It's 21:30. We got 5,000 in the kitty there, which is decent. You can see the count up there. In all of these demos, you can see the count. And I don't use the count at all. I don't have any confidence in it. That's not to say that I'm arguing that it doesn't work. You know, it's been popular. It's reached almost kind of religious levels. It's like, you know, it's like heresy to say that counting doesn't work. And since I don't give a shit either way, I'm not going to say it doesn't work. All I know is that in the model that I've created, counting is definitely not an advantage, but it is only 3,000 or 4,000 or whatever it is hands. I mean, I tend to think that something that doesn't work in 3,000 or 4,000 hands might be considered to be possibly not a great idea. But I could be wrong about that. I'm always happy to admit that I'm wrong when I'm proven wrong. The count, I have checked the count on this sim, and it's very accurate. I disagreed with it to the value of maybe 1 point or 2 either way, and it's entirely possible that the mistakes were mine and not the sim's, because the sim, after all, sticks to a set of rules absolutely, you know, precisely, whereas I have a brain fart now and then, you know. So anyway, there we are. So this will go up, and I'm just going to keep throwing these things up. I mean, it doesn't matter if it gets to be 150,000 or no. I'm not going to go to 150,000, but if it's 150, it doesn't matter. One of these days, this whole strategy will come into its own, because basically what it is it's rejecting the idea of random betting against random outcomes, which is logically, mathematically insane, you know. But it also rejects the conventional method of progressive betting, which is, you know, just redoubling until you get a win, and then you just win 1 unit. That's no use. It also, you know, a martingale can push the bet to ridiculous heights. Now, I've had an argument with several people over the years. It's something that keeps coming up, where in all the years that I lived in Nevada, nearly 40 years, every so often in casinos, I would just stop playing, and I'd, you know, on a busy weekend, for instance, I'd just keep my eyes open and look for an obvious martingale better. And they were people who would bet, you know, they'd lose 2 or 3 bets at one location. It might be a blackjack table, it could be the craps table, it could be roulette, could be wherever, baccarat, and then they'd move on. And their thought being that, okay, if they don't keep redoubling in one place, then they won't get heat, as they like to call it, from the pit staff, from the pit bosses. And I would see them not all the time, but regularly, and it's a clever way to go. But of course, they loved blackjack, because what can happen at blackjack is, let's say you've gone 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, and then you walk up to a blackjack table and you put down 350. And I think that what most of them would do is round up, so that they get more than one unit at the end of the down cycle, at the end of the mean streak, as I like to call it. And they could suddenly catch a natural or a double down, and double downs stand a very good chance. They've got about a 15 to 20% edge over the house, which hopefully the house doesn't realise, because they'll take them away in an instant. That's great. And of course, the other place that they love to go is betting on the field at craps, because you can catch a double there. You land. If the throw is, the roll is 2 or 12, you're going to catch double. And in some tables still, 12 is paid 3 times. 2 is paid double, and 12 is paid 3 to 1. So, worth doing. And similarly, of course, at roulette, you can put something down on, like, I don't know, one of the dozens or whatever, and you'll get 2 to 1 if you win. Obviously, you have to do more doubling, but you can end a martingale sequence, with extra profit, if you're careful about where you bet, where you go, how you go about it. And I would see that. I obviously never confronted them. That would be, an insult to them, because their whole idea is to keep their profile low. And I'm sure that casinos look out for them as well. And that from the simple fact that now most casinos will not allow you to join a blackjack game until the shuffle. So that slows people up. What the casinos, of course, don't realise, doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. Maybe if you just, you walk up to a blackjack table and you're in the middle of a martingale, a loss sequence, a mean streak, and they say, well, sorry, no, you can't bet until the shuffle. Well, as long as it's not an 8-deck shoe that's just started to be dealt, then that's not a problem. If it's like a double deck shoe, or one of those, whatever, you look at the shoe and you decide whether you want to stay or not. I mean, there are dozens, hundreds of tables if you're in Las Vegas. I mean, even in South Lake Tahoe, which is where I used to play, South Lake Tahoe and Reno, hundreds of tables available and different games. You don't have to play the same game. When your time comes to leave a table because you can't make the required bet because it's either too high or too low, you don't have to continue at blackjack. You can go to something else. It's all about patterns. And I'm banging the same old drum all the time, but not everybody is going to be watching all videos. I mean, I'm getting an audience of 3 or 4 for most of these. I don't care. The main thing is I'm establishing the record, I'm getting the word out, and there can be no doubt about the validity of what I'm saying. Pattern betting is progressive betting with teeth, so that when you hit a mean streak, you drop or you skip, you do whatever, You can even walk if you want to. You can just keep walking. I mean, we all need exercise, so it's a good idea. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you next time.